Well, hello everybody. This is Perrin Lovett back for Prepper Post News, courtesy of Freedom Prepper. And this is Wednesday, December 30th, 2020. Hello to everybody at fp.com, fpcommunity.com, everybody at YouTube, our lovely channel, of course, and everybody listening to the podcast at Anchor or Spotify or one of the other places. Let's see what we have today for this second to the last day of 2020. My title today at FP, and I suppose in the video, are War Games, and it's a take on two of the more recent featured topics we've had. As always, if we're allowed, please leave your comments on YouTube, or feel free to jump over to the community where people are talking about all kinds of great things. And yes, I did catch the comment about missing the Christmas ties. This is not a Christmas tie. I do have a few others. Kind of a English professor look here. We'll try this today and see how it goes as we attempt to connect a few dots in two of these stories. So take your pick, comment about either one of them or something else. It's the end of the year. We're still in party mode, so feel free to talk about whatever you like, as long as it's somewhat prepperish. And you guys just do a great job. So we got more information about the Nashville Christmas morning bombing case. And I said just the other day that look for this to go down the memory hole. It's a story that's not going to even last through the week. And, it's Wednesday. I gathered this stuff up, the other day. It's already disappearing. And I put a Wednesday, as soon as I was kind of comfortable with not Wednesday, Saturday, I think it was. Or maybe it was even Friday. In time. In time, I put out a little alert warning at the community, just a friendly social media post. Things to watch out for going forward, such as telecom disruption and more incidents, such as what we saw Christmas morning in Nashville. And we had another one. And other incidents can include copycat fakers, like this idiot in the old bread truck in Lebanon, Tennessee, which I think that happened Sunday. A copycat, another, it wasn't an RV, it was an old, panel van work truck, suspiciously outfitted with a PA system. When did they start putting PA systems in RVs and box trucks? I mean, yeah, you can get them. I mean, is that the next item the ATF needs to regulate? I mean, do you need a Class 3 stamp for a propane tank or the PA system? I mean, because, honestly, only the police and military, and maybe the ice cream, delivery truck needs a PA system. The founders did not envision traveling down the road broadcasting your intention to detonate a bomb in 15 minutes. Which is what this idiot in Lebanon, and if you're familiar with the geography, that is just to the east of Metro Nashville. He rolls up to I think it was a convenience store first, and he parked, and he started the same kind of countdown. You got 15 minutes, bomb. And people were naturally freaked out. And then he drove to a church and did the same thing. People freaked out. And then he meanders down a rural highway, where there's nothing to bomb anyway. And he gets stopped. He gets arrested. I forget what they're pressing some odd charges against him. You would think terroristic threats would be the main one, but maybe their false statement charge is terroristic threats. I don't know, but the robot came out, searched the vehicle, nothing was found. But that is an incident, and you can look for things like that, and those are really dangerous because it sets up the false premise. Well, it messes with your situational awareness. Now I'm looking out for strange vehicles that don't belong, that may have a countdown for a bomb. Well, now you're seeing them. Oh, there is no bomb. It's just like the bread truck. We don't need any of this, but just any of it you see. If you ever hear something like that coming from any vehicle, take it seriously and run. So look, and just look for more guys like that. That one, that one made a little bit of national news. I think the Daily Mail might have even picked it up, but mostly they ignored that. I've got a story linked up to a local Nashville channel that had a pretty decent write-up about it. But the big story, it's official. The Wall Street Journal ran an article in sync with all the other mainstream media outlets. It's a suicide bombing over 5G fears. Motive is unknown. And I bet that's about where they're going to leave it. There may be an ATF or a FBI investigative report that comes out that's probably going to say just about that. We have Mr. Warner, Anthony Quinn Warner. He was the guy, crazy, 5G, nothing else, a crazy man. Get over it. It's behind us. Forget about it. The Sun had the U.S. version of the Sun. I've got two stories linked up from them. One is about the 5G. Man, I've read a couple of these, and it's interesting. It's like the FBI goes to everybody that knew Mr. Warner, and they ask him, was this guy concerned about 5G? Did he think 5G was spreading corona? Did he blame 5G for spying on people or maybe killing his elderly father? And everybody they talk to says, no, he never mentioned anything about 5G. Ha, it's 5G. He was a 5G terrorist, but it's over. Forget about it. I'm not buying any of that. The second Sun story sheds a little bit more light on this woman in Los Angeles, who I guess is now the new owner of the two houses. If there's some sort of legal action, they could do a transfer set aside on the house that was transferred to her without her knowledge, allegedly, in November. The one that was from January of 2019 may have trouble with. That may be her house free and clear. And she said she didn't know anything about it, and yet they keep finding more and more communication between her and Anthony Quinn Warner. I don't know anything about her. I don't want to allege anything about her. I just find the whole thing beyond suspicious. My theory, just a theory, can't prove it, although other people are thinking this. This guy's a patsy. If, in fact, he was killed, he told her that, in one of his communications with her, he told her, I'm going to spend Christmas in the woods with my dogs. He might still be out there. I don't know. But I think he's a patsy. He got lured in. Maybe they had him, maybe he's on drugs. Maybe they had him thinking, 5G is really dangerous and you can be a hero. You can strike back. Here's a bomb. Here's how you do it. And maybe, I'm not saying that she was part of this. She may also be an unwitting participant in something else, which is what I think this is. I think I've covered that. We'll probably never, ever know the straight story, although, who knows? If the events of next month go the way I think they will, we might find out, because I've got some really good and inspirational information on the big show. The big show is scheduled to start a week from today on January 6th, where it should be, according to the mainstream press, a perfunctory meeting of Congress to endorse the Electoral College vote. And we all know how that's going to go. Except there's nothing really set in stone about that. There's something written in the Constitution that everybody, to include Lawrence Tribe, has completely ignored. And it's the way our government actually works. It's not treason to follow the law. It's the law to follow the law. And the way it looks, first let me cover the New York Post. They too, that's a centrist publication. They're not ultra hard left like Carlos Slim's blog and some of the other Jeff Bezos blog, some of these other outlets, Pravda-like outlets. But they too recently wrote a staff op-ed that said, Trump, you lost, move on, get over it. Salvage what's left of your legacy and don't do any more damage to the country, because, talking about the Insurrection Act and following the law, that's tantamount to treason. Well, no, treason is treason. Treason is doing things like trying to, stage a mass coup in order to, take over the government, which would rightly trigger insurrection, especially if things like, I don't know, truck bombs were being used. But I'm not mad with the Post. It occurred to me several times this year that maybe it's time to boycott some of these outlets, because much of their reporting on major issues is just dead wrong, and much of it is it's red herrings designed to throw you off. But if we started boycotting all of them, there wouldn't be much news to report. So it's more of reading it with a filter, which is what I'm going to keep doing. I still like the Post, but I linked this story for your amusement. Okay. But other people in the semi-mainstream press are noticing that we still have some semblance of a constitution left. Probably not for much longer. People only follow it when it's convenient for their side of the uniparty to follow. But the American Thinker has got a story this week about how this really works and how it might work out in Congress when Mike Pence presides over the official certification of these votes. And remember, per the way the system worked, the AP talked about the way the system worked, the Electoral College, that all these liberals for so many decades have told us is wrong and it needs to be replaced. Well, this year it worked just fine. I guess it did. And per the rules, 7 states sent up competing slates of electors. And it's up to Pence to pick and choose which ones they go with, if any. May throw the vote straight to Congress, not on congressional representation basis, but by electoral state block voting. That's important for somebody. But the Neon Revolt site, I think might be my first link to Neon, which I followed for a little while, has a very, very good article, better than the American Thinker, about how this is now in Mike Pence's court, and what he decides and how he acts a week from today. Not only it won't just determine the next 4 years, it has much, much larger ramifications, and it's rare for somebody, one man, to come down to a situation where he has so much power and with so much to gain or lose. I think I know who's going to win, who's going to lose. Box Day has always been of the same mind, and I've got a graphic that I had to link in. It's awesome. He did this, apparently made it with one of these graphic making things that I don't understand. But what he did was he took the 2020 election and he broke it down into a schematic for a military engagement. It's a battle plan, and it's starting to look like the double envelopment of the deep state. And I'll just kind of describe this to you. I know we've probably got the graphic up right now, but he switched red and blue. The deep state is red, and they are all massed up in kind of a bulge formation, backing themselves up, and they are surrounded by a big blue wave, which is us, the American people, the people who are not giving up and not giving in and not being hoodwinked, who are still standing strong on the truth. And at both flanks, this is interesting, he's got military intelligence that is beginning to peel around the back and attack the rear flank of the deep state. Meanwhile, off to the top and bottom, he has cavalry action. This is outstanding, even for him. This is brilliant. The top is the courts, and he has the legal team just running the courts off. And part of the legal team is now swinging around with military intelligence to go in, I suppose, to Congress or to other parts of the deep state. YouTube, I think you'd be in that upper red band, the one that's about to get folded, if you understand how these things work, get folded over and then run over. We'll see. And the bottom cavalry is the legislatures of the states, and the legal team has just maneuvered them right out of the way, and they did their jobs. They 43 of them voted the ordinary way. There is nothing really ordinary about this. Anybody tells you this is, set in stone for 240 years and this is the way it is, they're overlooking a lot of history. It doesn't happen often, but sometimes you do see things like 7 states throwing a curveball to Congress. So that would be in the big infantry action that's about to unfold next month. And again, when it does, we don't know how it's going to go. It could go either way. Technically, there could be some kind of crazy third option. Whatever it is, we'll take it. But logically, with the way things are going, I think we're just going to have us a big old party. And another guy that's ready to party, you can always tell, who a winner is by who his friends are. And certain people just like to win. And nobody likes to win more than Herschel Walker. You think about beginning and the end of the day, what is Herschel? He's a winner. And he sent out a tweet about Sidney Powell's 270-page evidentiary report that I linked up here and talked about briefly, not as it affected the guidelines. We're not talking about a presidential election. We're talking about the school board election in Antrim County, Michigan. Big difference, He says that any person that certifies votes for their state, when their state may have had voter fraud, but they turned a blind eye and did no research and certified anyway, they need to go to jail. So, they just might. Our country was built on law and order. Herschel running another one in. If you look at him, you could put a uniform on him. He could probably play in the NFL right now. Moving on, per the guidelines, it's very important that we have truth in accordance with the terms that the trust and safety, the wise people give us. We're not smart enough on our own. We have to be led like sheep. I agree with their points, all of them. That's why I'm a big supporter of the trust, the safety, and all this SJW stuff. You know that. They say with medical decisions, we need to trust the World Health Authority and or local health authorities. So I found a story about local health authority that we need to trust because for once they're telling us the truth. Lou Rockwell had a story about the government in Ontario, which I think some of you live there, up our big next door neighbor to the north, Canada. They issued a report on their classification of certain illnesses. I'll just read you what the local health authority is advising. It's very important to pay attention. They say, and they're talking about corona cases, any case marked as fatal is included in the deaths data. Deaths are included whether or not COVID-19 was determined to be a contributing or underlying cause of death. In other words, they just throwing it in there and making it all up. But they're telling the truth, and we need to listen to that because they are local health authorities. I'm sure backed up by the World Health Organization. No word on if Justin was in blackface for that one. I don't know. Speaking of faces, this one will have you making faces. We've got justice. It's gotten to the point where an American courtroom, state or federal, is about the last place you'd want to go for justice. But thank God, in a civil case out somewhere, I forget where, and it doesn't matter, California, Ninth Circuit, somebody got justice. And it involved a case that I think I covered it somewhere when it first came up. A real news journalism outfit did an undercover interview with some people who make their very good living, by selling the body parts of murdered babies. And these people were on tape bragging about it, laughing about it, and this was revealed to the world. Well, they sued, and a wise federal district judge awarded them $13.6 million. I believe the case is on appeal to the Ninth Circuit Court right now. So in America, in the USSA today, if you make your living off of baby murder, you can rest assured that if anybody exposes that, they're going to be paying you and your attorney's fees. So it's good that we have justice for somebody. We don't have nearly enough millstones, but yeah, okay. The last word of the day. This is a feel-good story, especially for my libertarian friends. And I'm not picking on any of you who have libertarian leanings, great principles, but I'm talking about these people that are members of the party, and that you know what I'm talking about. The word of the day is weed, because at the end of the day, no matter what they're talking about, they're not in favor. Their primary issue is not big government or preventing it. It's not cutting taxes. It's not firearms freedom. It's legalizing marijuana and then smoking as much as they possibly can. That's all they care about, and which is why their party is nothing but a joke. But if they could just sober up for a second, I've got a story from Politico about the what happens when you legalize marijuana, because that's all they want. Well, we want to smoke weed, man, man. And then your Republican types and a lot of Democrats too will say, all right, fine, we'll legalize it because then we can regulate it and tax it and make a lot of money. You can. In Massachusetts, made this stuff legal like most other states have, and they started taxing it, and the money started rolling in. And then a mayor of, I didn't even put the town, some mayor just started looting because he's a grifter. And where did he come from? Well, he's an immigrant from I cut all my notes out. He's a new arrival to this country from somewhere else, and the first thing he does is get himself elected mayor and start stealing the people's money that the libertarians paid so they could smoke dope. So I see two issues here. One, be very, very careful who you let in, and especially who you let in and put in charge, because just like marijuana is not magic, it doesn't cure everything the way some people say it does. It at best distracts. The dirt isn't magic either. You don't make a good little son of the Puritans by bringing in somebody from some island. All you end up with is grift and graft and somebody under indictment. Two lessons to be learned, but I'm sure I lost the libertarians a long time ago, off to make brownies or oil or whatever it is. Good times. I say legalize it too, but just we know, and there's they'll catch up. I'm sure they'll catch up. I think tomorrow we're going to have to catch up with our big top 10 stories of 2020. As I've been saying, I pre-recorded that a while ago, and I just can't bring myself to update it. So I think tomorrow we're going to have a short news segment, 5 or 10 minutes, and then have the rest of the show with me back in the Christmas tie with the Christmas tree up here, talking about the stories that we know and love so well from this great year. Anyway, Friday, we start 2021. So I'll see you Friday and tomorrow, Thursday. Perrin Lovett signing out. Hope you have a great hump day.